was evaluating, like, I got a team that just played for a national championship. I couldn't name 3 of their quarterbacks on their roster outside of Max Duggan.
Right.
Like, I'm looking for a place where I can go in, plug myself in, play right now. Like, TCU's got a great chance, right? And they got there. If they hit on some of those things, they hit on some transfer portals, like they can get themselves in that situation where they can then start filling the cupboards, and it becomes a standard of you come here, you get developed, you bid your time, and it goes into exactly what Kirby Smart's done at Georgia, what Nick Saban set the blueprint for all these other programs that Dabo's then followed at Clemson. You go down the list, like to get to where we're talking about a consistent national championship contender. You can't just have talent that's cyclical, and you can't just have talent that is one and done type of shit. Like you need to have longevity in there, and you need to have a cupboard filled with guys who can come in and play talent wise, whether it's proven or unproven, guys who have the talent to be able to come out and compete with these other programs. So, for me, yeah, TCU would grab my eye, but I could also argue that Texas A&M could grab my eye right now too, because of what the success they've had. And then, like you said, Texas with Arch and Quinn Ewers right there now, and kind of where they're going, like it's just a different vibe, man. And like I was a blue collar kid, I kind of buy into that blue collar hardworking mentality. So it depend on the conversations I had, but I think the point that you're trying to drive home is TCU does have a great opportunity to both fill the coffers on the recruiting trail as well as in the transfer portal. And that's a luxury that no one's really had pre-transfer portal, to get immediate impact players right now on campus, while also bringing along that stable of youth that you're going to develop into your own and ultimately be pillars of your program.
Same. And, well, Clint, go ahead, Clint, because I also want to ask you, you're in Texas. You work with these young quarterbacks, just really young players in general. You know these high school coaches and the hotbeds, so you know where this thing drifts. How hot is TCU's brand, even with us promoting the hell out of them in the state? We're not in Texas. You are.
Well, the fact of the matter is TCU's getting a visit this year where they wouldn't have 2 years ago. That's ultimately, to me, if you're asked, like I'm going to rank them, being a kid that grew up here, if I had a kid coming out, I'd go Texas A&M, and TCU. But the reality of it is right now, I'm just talking historically over all the years of where do I feel like myself or my son, if he were a quarterback, could go and be surrounded by the best talent. I believe if all those schools are hitting on all cylinders, I believe it's Texas A&M, and then TCU. But what matters to this conversation is that TCU for the next 12 to 24 months is going to be in that conversation, right? The further you get removed,
you're saying the other two will be there historically no matter what.
No question.
It's just who joins them.
Here's the deal. That's it. Who a couple years ago it was Baylor, right? Yep. Right now it's TCU. Here's the thing is, like, I'm going to go visit Texas. I'm going to go visit Texas A&M. And ultimately, I feel like both programs are going to surround me with talent. At the end of the day, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go, where do I feel at home? Which coach do I trust? Which players do I fit in best with? Which city, which town do I see myself living in? Is there an offensive-minded head coach where I don't have to lose my offensive system if the offensive coordinator or somebody gets hired away? Is it an offensive-minded head coach to where I know that if I stay there, if I handle my business, I'm going to play 4 years in the same system? All of those things matter, right? And I'm going to go visit all 3 of them, and whichever one best suits me, whichever one I feel like the quarterback room is vulnerable to somebody coming in and legitimately being able to compete for a starting job, is going to be. But right now, TCU's in that conversation. I can't tell you TCU's going to be there in 2 years. It matters what they do in recruiting. It matters. I can't tell you they're going to be there in 2 years.
Ain't no time like the present.
That's it.
National College Football Championship, National Championship tonight. All dogs, 65-7, all kind of records broken. Stetson Bennett continues to write his Hollywood script. MVP, produced 6 total touchdowns for the Dogs, I think is the number. Second straight national championship. This dude can go anywhere and do anything. Let's go to our toast as we bring this season here to a close. Hack, I'm going to go with you for your favorite player team thing for the season.
Well, I'm usually not a bitter son of a bitch, but I called it, got some flack for this, and I said that the national championship game was last weekend watching the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Georgia Bulldogs. And unfortunately, TCU proved me right. So here's to me saying that we got to watch the national championship game last week,
Yes,
and this was just a consolation. The Little Giants playing icebox in the Dallas Cowboys. So here's to me. Fuck it.
Yes, sir. Dirty Red, sir.
Man, anything, huh?
Anything.
Well, I don't want to end the night on an emotional note, but I feel like it's the right thing to do. Mike Leach, a man that when I was in my playing days, him and Hal Mummy were putting up monster numbers at Kentucky. A man that is I think one of the pioneers of the air raid that although it's a little bit of a negative light tonight, the air raid getting skull drug, it is an absolute system that is that's transformed so many young men and coaches' lives in the game of football. We lost a great one this year, Mike Leach. So I'm gonna put my glass in the air one time for the Pirate, man. Here's to Mike Leach.
Respect. And I'm going to send mine to everybody that lives in the biggest, baddest, nastiest, meanest neighborhood in college football. We've been calling them Jurassic Park forever. And it bear out again. Tennessee took it out of the gates. They were number one in the nation, number one in the first poll. Georgia wrestled it away from them. Alabama was right there hanging with them. They had challengers all over the place. The conference looked like it could have a 2-loss LSU coming into the playoffs from a first-year coach and Brian Kelly. So then it all settles. Georgia has to go through a game Ohio State team. Then they come out there and represent the entire vicious conference against TCU tonight. And as a Midwest guy who now lives out west, never having lived in the South, all the respect in the world for that conference, what it means to them, what they continue to do. And some conferences are going to make better like they do with the Big Ten. Other ones, they're going to continue to show them how big the gap is. Either way, is it great for college football? Hard to say, but it is great as a fan and as somebody who loves the sport and covers the sport like we do. To Jurassic Park as a conference. Congrats. And that's for us. That brings us to a conclusion on the behalf of the bosses, Jeff Goodman, Rob Dowster, the producers, Dagan Hughes, Trevor Valise, all our guys, Trevor Knight, Michael Felder, Coach
Kevin Sumlin, Bryce
Petty, Greg Waddell, Christian Hackenberg, Clint Stoerner, George Whitfield. Cannot wait to see you guys again. Potentially coming up here this spring as we start talking spring football and the NFL draft. It's been an absolute honor to roll with you. College football, After Dark, Field of 12.